Norway, Spain, and Ireland have announced their intention to formally recognize a Palestinian state, a declaration that would take effect on Tuesday.
I've spoken with a number of other leaders and counterparts, and I'm confident that further countries will join us in taking this important step in the coming weeks.
Leaders from the three countries say they hope the move brings new momentum towards a two-state solution, adding it's not a decision against Israel or in favor of Hamas, but instead one in support of peace. Israel reacted angrily to the move, calling the decision distorted. Israel has now recalled its ambassadors to those three countries and summoned their envoys. Hamas, meantime, welcoming the move and calling on other nations to follow suit. With me now to discuss is Jon Allen, former Canadian ambassador to Israel. Good morning to you, Mr. Ambassador. Nice to see you once again. So Norway, Spain, and Ireland making their thoughts public, this formal declaration of a Palestinian state. What's your reaction?
Well, this is a growing trend. We saw the vote in the United Nations, which was part of that process. These three countries are formalizing and formally recognizing the Palestinian state. And I think it's a trend that will grow. You'll see other countries in the EU probably following suit, and perhaps Australia, New Zealand, and perhaps Canada. It's a recognition that while we've been talking about two states for 20 years, and it's all part of our policy, that very, very little has been done over that time. And I think it's a recognition that if we don't move in that direction, we're going to see the horrible violence that we saw on October the 7th in southern Israel, and we're going to see more conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. I think it's important. It could give moderates in Palestine hope, and I think it sends a signal to Israel that they don't have a veto over this process.
Okay, well, let's talk more than about Israel's position. They have reacted angrily, negatively to this news. Is it up to Israel, Ambassador?
Well, we're not going to have two states until we have agreement on the final status issues that have to be agreed by both parties. But this is an issue that should not be up to just one of the two parties. Israel claims that this is a reward to Hamas. And I suggest that it is not a reward to Hamas, who has no interest in two states, has no interest in the continuation of Israel's existence. It's a reward to moderates in the Palestinian Authority who already cooperate with Israel. It's a reward to moderates in Israel who recognize that sharing the land between the 7.5 million Jews and the 7.5 million Arabs is the only way that we can achieve peace and security for both sides going forward.
Well, certainly Netanyahu has a different position on that, believing that it endangers people more than it creates a sense of peace.
Well, he says that, but Joe Biden has been working extremely hard with Saudi Arabia to try and come up with a three-way deal between the Saudis, the Israelis, and the U.S. That would involve a credible pathway towards Palestinian statehood, and that would provide increased security for Israel by forming an alliance that could oppose Iran and its proxies, and that could bring peace to the border between Israel, Gaza, and Israel and the West Bank. The Americans have been working extremely hard, and Bibi has rejected any of these efforts because he rejects a Palestinian state and has for the last 15 years.
Let's wrap up by talking about Canada's position. You mentioned Canada off the top. Would you like to see a clearer position made by this country? Would you like Canada to add its voice to those that are coming out now and making this declaration?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think Canada has been moving in that direction, and the statement by Ambassador Ray at the UN last week indicated that it was moving. There were some criteria they wanted met. But I think the trend is clear. I think we're going to see France and some other European countries joining Ireland, Spain, and Norway, and I think it's time because I think we have to give the Palestinian people hope. I think we have to recognize that they have a right to self-determination, while, as I said, acknowledging that there still has to be a negotiation to settle the main issues of security and borders and refugees and Jerusalem, etc.
Jon Allen is the former Canadian ambassador to Israel. As always, appreciate you being with us. We'll talk to you again
Thank you.
soon.